Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to AVX Live. I'm Joe Gilderson, President of Corporate Audiovisual Services, and today I am joined by my co-host, Alexa Lilos.
Hello.
Alexa, this might be the first time that we've actually worked the show together.
I think that is true. It's always been either me and Ryan or the three of us, but this is the first time that it's just you and I.
I have a really good feeling about this. I think this could be the connection that we needed.
I agree.
It took us 41 episodes, but we might have finally found the magic sauce. So this is good. Well, listen, Alexa, this is your time. You got to tell people, how do they find us and how do they see this show?
I got this. So for anyone just tuning in, we're here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. You can find us and like us on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And as Ryan would say, smash the subscribe button.
And what if they wanted to contribute or be a part of the show? How could they do that?
Oh, yeah. They can leave us a comment and, we can pull up their comment, ask us anything, or maybe give us a recommendation of what you want to see going forward.
That sounds good. Already I think you've already gone way by Ryan. But Ryan will be joining us again. He's got real work that he's got to do right now. So that's okay. He'll be back and we'll have more riveting commentary from Mr. Finch.
For sure.
But for this week, I got to tell you, we have a couple of great guests today. We're working in tandems today. This is totally different. It's fun. It's exciting. We needed a new way to do things for this year. So we're going to start telling you a little bit about today's guests, which are two of our friends from Nationwide. So very cool. Let me tell you a little bit about Tim Morin first. Tim is the Director of Technology Sales for Nationwide Video. He's a 20-year veteran in the live events industry, and Tim brings a wealth of diverse knowledge in both emerging technologies as well as industry trends. Tim makes his home in the Las Vegas area with his wife and 3 kids. He is also going to be joined by Bret Tracey, who's the president of Nationwide Video, position he's held for the last 13 years. Nationwide is a wholesale rental company in the audiovisual industry, and Bret focuses on simplifying the process of rental, sales, service, and professional training for the pro stager. Bret hails from Michigan and has spent 5 years serving in the United States Navy. He's a passionate family man who enjoys playing and coaching hockey, surfing, motocross, and personal training. I mean, this guy can do it all, I think. So please welcome our friends, Tim and Bret, to the show.
Hi, guys. Hi. Hello, everyone.
I mean, I found those pictures. I found a few others, Bret. They were a little questionable, so I didn't use them.
I think the ones you put up are questionable.
I mean, I don't know. Who is this person right here?
That's John Waite from the Babies. Nice.
That's pretty good. I know how you used to get excited about different entertainers. So
Yeah, for sure. No, it's really cool to meet guys like that. They're just really nice guys. It was real funny. He was the guest. He was the MC of an award event. And I was watching him pacing before he spoke, and I went up and said, and I'm thinking we had maybe one beer before we saw him, and I went up and said, John, I said, how are you? I'm Bret. I'm sure you remember me. We met before. And he just started laughing because obviously those kind of people meet everybody. But he's pacing. I said, here's what I do, and he just started laughing, and away he went. So it's funny. He's like, I don't need to hear from you. I go, yeah, we got it. So.
Yeah, but that you needed to lighten up the moment for a second, to get him a little looser,
He was breathing a little heavy, So
that's funny. And Tim, I understand maybe you're in the Orlando office today.
I am, just receiving some new gear because I head up the sales department. So we just received some containers of some new product, just getting them ready and prepped to go out to a satisfied client.
It's nice to hear that there are containers actually coming into the country. That's really good news.
Depends on where you ship them. You just can't do them on the West Coast, so you ship them to the East Coast.
He swam out and got the stuff.
Well, maybe that's how some of our mixers finally came in. We ordered them like in July, I think. So I didn't know Tim was involved in rescuing them, but
exactly whatever it takes.
Absolutely.
That's the right attitude, Right. But I guess, hey, look, let's start off with something simple. How'd you guys get into the whole AV world? I think maybe Bret, we'll start with you and then go over to Tim.
Well, First, it's good to see both of you. It's been a while, and we appreciate you guys having us here. The AV world for me was a very interesting thing through a friendship, actually. There's a guy by the name of Gary Becker, and a lot of people in the industry know him. And Gary, developed the idea of nationwide video. His dad was a pro stager. So Gary watched this for years as a kid, working for his dad in the warehouses in summers. Then eventually guys like me, we were all hockey players, Gary and I together as kids growing all the way up. 30 years we've been playing hockey together. And long story short was we'd work at his dad's warehouse in the summer. So we started being around the AV gear and just helping, moving things around, cleaning cases, whatever. And at that point, we were playing junior hockey. Then Gary took off to Notre Dame. I took off to Ferris. I went to play hockey. He went to go get an education and play hockey. So big difference there. And the bottom line was, as a finance major, he recognized how he could help pro AV companies because he watched what his dad was going through, simultaneously with him going to school. Long story short is he came to me at one point. I invited him to play men's hockey with me. I said, "Hey, what do you got going?" And Gary says, "I got this idea, and I'm seeing stagers are struggling to buy equipment because the technology was changing in the late 90s so fast they couldn't get their ROI back." He said, "So they're buying some of the gear but can't afford all of it." He said, "I think this is what we should do." And I was like, "I don't know anything about that." But then he started telling me about the technology because I wasn't paying attention to that. And it related to my professional career as a radiology tech and the Navy corpsman and all that, and all the digital technology. So we decided together, this is the way to go. Gary said, "Here's the plan." And I went out and hit the streets and kind of built the business with him. So that's how I got into the industry, and then learned a lot about it along the way 20 years later. So.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It's interesting.
Hey, Tim, how'd you get into this?
Actually, it was funny. I had a friend in high school who worked for an AV company part-time in New Hampshire, where I'm from. And there was an event happening, and they had some 3-gun projectors that they didn't know how to configure and to merge. So I didn't know anything about it. So I just ended up grabbing a manual and reading it and working through the night. And we had the 3-gun projectors converged. And from that point on, it's just, every weekend he'd call me up saying, "Hey, we have to do this. Can you come in and do it?" And I just started being a projectionist to start off with and just took it from there.
Well, that's pretty cool. So you're from New Hampshire. I'm actually from Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. Now, are you in the north, like you might as well be Maine section, or are you in where civilization is in southern New Hampshire?
Well, I mean, civilization in New Hampshire. I mean, I'm from Manchester, which is the biggest city. And when I was growing up, it was 150,000 people. So if you want to call that civilization for the big city in New Hampshire, that's where I was from.
Well, there you go. Okay. See, that seemed to be like the last line before civilization, disappeared. But of course, I'm joking around. New Hampshire's a great place. But either way, that's good.
I think that's very cool, though, just to see how people kind of get into the industry. As being someone who's a little bit more new in my career, it's really awesome to, hear stories of how people follow their journey and they get to wherever they end up. Everything kind of relates, like Bret and I were talking about before the show started. I feel like, your industry might kind of translate into something else and then it carries you to the next thing. So that's really cool.
Yeah. A lot of different pathways in.
Yeah, for sure.
So what made you go down the wholesale? Like what's wholesale mean? What is that?
Well, for me, wholesale to me is not a great word. It defines for our industry a space within the industry. But I think wholesale traditionally means, low level service, here's a box, be on your way, you got a cheap price and away you go. And I can't think of anything more opposed to what we do than that term. So I really, and so respectfully, I understand exactly what you're saying when it comes to wholesale, because that's what everybody, these guys are the wholesalers. It's that group of those guys. That's what those guys over there do. Like, yeah, that's fair. It defines a group, but what it doesn't define is a service that Nationwide does and our competitors. Anybody that does what we do, that moves gear and supplements pro stagers' inventory, makes their life better. That's what a wholesaler is. And the idea is, if you're service oriented, which we are, that's all we do. That's what it's about. It's helping somebody get to the next level where they're going, look, I can do all these things. I'm a little short here and I need a little equipment and a little this, or sometimes the whole show when you drain your inventory. So that's what a wholesaler is. It just quietly from the background in the shadows, just kind of supports, fades back, and we're there, but nobody else knows we're there. That's the bottom line. That's what a wholesaler does. But one that does it the right way.
Well, that's really because I never really thought of you guys as a wholesaler. Again, we were talking beforehand, but we've been a client of Nationwide's for minimum of 15 years. I think I've heard it since I walked through the door here. Oh yeah, call these guys. It used to be for projectors. Projectors, you call these guys, and then certainly you've developed in many different ways since that time period, and fairly quickly too.
Well,
but
thank you for the calls. We appreciate that, and we're just glad to go to work every day. We're grateful people call us, and we just want to be there day in, day out. That's all we're trying to do. Support.
And Bret or Tim, who ends up being like your main clientele then for, you're working kind of, you said like in the background, who's the people who are typically calling you guys on a day-to-day basis?
Well, Tim, go ahead.
I was going to say mostly it's rental and stagers for our rental client base. And really that's who we cater to. Bret, if you want to elaborate on that, I mean, that really is our core function is rental and staging.
It's key. And Tim nails that. And the bottom line is this, back to the wholesale idea, the concept is we're not out there doing shows. We don't cross over into the stagers world and the end clients, and Nationwide made sure that we drove that stake in the ground on day one so that the pro stagers out there went, we got somebody we can trust. They bring quality, they bring this, they bring all these different features to the business, but I don't have to worry about them going and calling whoever your end clients are. Most of the time, we don't even know who the end clients are, although our clients are so trustworthy in Nationwide now, they tell us who they are. Here's who they are, here's the key contacts, and we go, great. If we need them for some reason or you want us to do something to help you with that, great. Otherwise, we forget that information unless you want us to have it. So that's the role of a true wholesaler, in my opinion.
That makes sense. Yeah, you guys are like keeping the connection going, even if you're not front facing with the client itself. You're keeping the chain able to, produce that end product.
Right.
Very cool.
Very true.
Well, I know all of your assistance has been tremendous over the years. Especially because there was always service backing it. It wasn't just here's a box and good luck, buddy. It was, hey, look, if you have any questions, then you give us a call. And, every now and then there's always some weird thing that comes up and, but if we had a question, of course it had to be at midnight. It couldn't be during a regular time. It has to be.
That doesn't exist.
No. If you're going to have a problem, it's got to be at the worst time humanly possible. So,
yeah.
And then we call and somebody would always get back to us in some way. And I've had more than one occasion where either lensing wasn't right or something wasn't functioning properly. And we've had projectors arrive mysteriously by like 6 or 7 the next morning. Nobody even knows how it happens.
Santa Claus, yeah.
And then, then those guys dressed in black go and swap things out when nobody's looking. And, it's like magic just occurred and nobody knows.
There's an art to it. There's no doubt about it. There's an art to it. You got will and you got passion. That drives hope. We're going to get there somehow. That's the bottom line. And somebody defined it one day. A guy, a really smart guy, sharp guy said, we're the emergency room to the AV industry, which means we're all there and present. But you can, and I come from the medical background, so you can sit in an ER and all night. You can get their shift starts at 7 p.m. and ends at 7 in the morning, and nothing happens. But we're all there because when it does go sideways, boom, it's go time. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, the reaction has to be quick, unfortunately, and
that's true.
And it has to happen, in an orderly fashion still.
That's right.
Which is, I guess, kind of like an oxymoron. I don't know. It's like organized chaos, I guess.
Well, it's the difference between being a firefighter and fire prevention, though. Also, as we get older and we learn more about the business, we go, hey, we could have eliminated that problem for everybody. And everyone goes, gee, that would be nice. So we're getting there.
Well, that's what we need. So keep doing that. Like we all need that, especially during this time period. I think it's going to be an interesting time period. But have you seen the role of Nationwide evolve over the years as you've been going?
Oh, 100%. I think in the beginning, it was conceptual and you didn't know people would absorb the idea. You just don't know that. Then over time, you start to understand there is a real need. And when people understand the model and that you're not coming after them everyone's always looking for the hook. Uh-oh, where's the trouble? Uh-oh, this is dangerous. Uh-oh, whatever. And depending on how wholesale is managed, that could be dangerous to your business. But the transition over time has been kind of like, do the projector thing, get people acclimated. Then people become partners, and then they become friends. And then it becomes you're living their shows with them. Again, you're not on show site, but you're living with their successes, the victories, the challenges, all that kind of stuff. So you become many different things. which that's what the pandemic really brought to head, even though for years that's been going on, the transition and growing and diversifying your inventory. You know, people like you, Joe, we've had these conversations for years together. It's like, what now? What can we do? What do you need? So part of it we see on our own and say, this is what you're going to need. And the other part is we have to follow you sometimes and go, this is what I need right now. So that helps you transition to the next level, maybe diversify in the right places of inventory. And we're so lucky. Our client base is awesome. We can call you and say, what do you think? How do you like this? What's this product like for you? And you go, oh my gosh, it doesn't. We go, oh my gosh, that's a great thing. We didn't know that would be a problem for you. So it's a great relationship. It's been phenomenal. And, you know, we transitioned to a lot of different services, which we'll probably get to down the line here in the podcast.
Well, you know, way back, we actually were one of the first people to use that show in the box that you used to have, if you remember that.
Yeah.
It took up so much damn room in the truck. We didn't know what to do with it.
That's a great idea. It just needs work. Yeah.
Well, it helped us. I
Yeah.
mean, it worked, you know, but I do remember, and you guys have always been good with that, asking, hey, well, what do you know, like, what do you guys think you need help with? And that's always been part of kind of the way everybody's gone about it. And you've got a great team. You've always had a great team.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I can't, you know, the core group that's been there for a long, long time, and then the new additions with Tim and Kevin Ring and Josh Schneid. I mean, this team, we got a guy named Brad McMartin that oversees all the customer service. I can't even describe to you how that feels and the energy that creates within our business. I'm doing all I can to be controlled here, because I'm not a controller. I'm ready to go and launch and preach to the world. But I'm just telling you, it's a super strong team, and the drive to take care of clients is the core thread. Quality and take care of clients. It's a core thread. Makes my day. Otherwise, I just wouldn't do it. When that's gone, I'm out. So.
Well, you certainly highlighted that, because I know that as I even just look on your website, first thing I see is this 360-degree client focus.
Right.
And I mean, you just don't usually get that from people talking about renting projectors and speakers and LED walls. Like, you just don't really get that. So I think it makes a big difference. And I'm assuming you guys really live this every day.
Yeah, there's no other way. And you know, this industry is very transparent, and you can talk all day, but it's better to just shut up and deliver, in my opinion. And that's what this team has done. You have to get the message out enough that people understand what you do, and let your actions take care of business. And that's why Tim's here. Kevin Ring is here at the Pro Training. I mean, it's just we've developed this business in another way, and people are doing bits and pieces of it already. So I don't call it a new idea. I call it reinforcement of nice pieces of ideas. This is now the real deal. And the idea behind all this for everybody out there is, look, you need one place to go that simplifies your life. We're having manpower challenges all over the place right now because of the pandemic. You can now go and you can call Tim and you say, I need a couple projectors and screens. I want to buy some of this stuff. And we're supporting Panasonic and Christie and all these different manufacturers. We can build that for you, and you could buy maybe half the inventory you want through Nationwide, and then say, and by the way, while I'm here, I'd like to get this rental inventory to supplement that, because I don't want to buy 8 projectors, I want to buy 4, but I need 8. So we can pull it together, and then you go, hey, I bought LED from you, and now I need it fixed, and I need cases for this equipment. So we got cases now. You know, you kind of see the point of that, and the focus is the client in the center. That's the whole drive here.
That's really nice. Actually, it reminds me, we're in a leadership type of thing here at Corporate AV. Every Friday we have a little meeting. We talk about leadership, and we're reading a book right now. And in the book, they're talking about one of the points in leadership is how to serve your people and serve, you know, the client base. And it really sounds like you guys exemplify that type of service, you know, really helping people hand in hand. You know, how can I help you? It's really nice to see that you guys have that kind of business model.
Well, Tim, you can speak to that.
Well, I just don't think we'd be here without that business model, to be honest with you, because our whole function is to take care of the client. There is nothing else being Nationwide. So, without being able to do that or actually taking care of the client, there's no point of doing it. I mean, that's really what our core function is.
Very nice.
And I think there's one piece of that too. The stagers help us. I want to be clear about something. You know, we're having a conversation like this, but if it wasn't for the stagers, the obvious is that they rent the equipment from us, or we work together. But the things they've taught us, you know what I mean? You only know so much, and you have to go out and talk to these people. And that's why we're at the events, and that's why we're doing the road rallies. We're going to bring equipment to you. Like Nationwide's doing a bunch of road rallies coming up. See all kinds of manufacturers' equipment. But what
Cool.
we do is we learn what's happening in your world is what we need to understand. Where do you see the challenges coming? Because we're thinking we've got great ideas, we think, but hey, let's talk about this and what do you think would help you on top of what we're doing? So it's a two-way street. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Very cool.
Hey, Tim, maybe you can speak to some of the new services right now that you guys are involved in. Because for years, like sales wasn't something. If I called Bret, he'd laugh at me. Like he would say, dude, I'm sorry, man, but like we don't do that.
I laughed with you. We laughed.
I'm sorry, I misinterpreted.
Yeah.
I misinterpreted. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about those new services.
Yeah, so we've got, like Bret mentioned already, we've got LED repair. We have a new case division, nationwide case. So we build custom cases for all of your, not only audiovisual equipment, but any type of product you need to have cased up, whether you're a sporting team or a medical device or anything like that. We have the new product sales, which is the department I head up. And then we also have pretty much your pro training, which Kevin Ring heads up. And that's actually a national certification program that we've actually partnered with manufacturers. Such as, Disguise and Barco and Christie and Panasonic, that we actually certify you on specific gear. So we actually really are like Bret said, in the infographic you showed, a full 360.
Look at that. It was like magic. It just magically appeared.
You're amazing. I got to just say that.
I mean, you're blown away right now, aren't you? I mean, look at that. It's stunning graphics.
You are well prepared. No question. It's impressive.
Well, I didn't want to let Tim down. I mean, I wasn't really worried about letting you down, but I don't know Tim that well,
That's
so
right.
we're just starting out here.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
No, but so on the sales side, if as a pro stager, what could I call you guys for?
So projection, cameras, anything from manufacturers, the full product line of anything from Christie, Panasonic, Disguise, full ray switching, Ross Video. There's the list, and it keeps growing. Infolet, of course, which is one of our main partners. It honestly, I got to be honest, it continues. We add manufacturers on a seems to be a week to week or month to month basis.
Mm-hmm.
The manufacturers are seeing what we're doing, and they understand the concept of how we're doing it, and they just want to be part of it. So,
and they see the people. They see two things. They see a model that they can trust and they work with. They're easy to work with. Then they see the people that are handling that. Guys like Tim again and Mark Auerkirk that a lot of people in the industry know. That's drawing people to the flame. It's very good.
Well, yeah, I know you got Mark over there. Mark's exceptional and a perfect fit for you guys too.
Yeah, we love him.
Just a good human with, Mark has recommended good books to me over the years, and on top of educating me all about projection and Christie and everything else. But no, I think that's the fact that you're adding these pieces, they are the missing parts to certain things, especially training, repairs. So it's funny. We were literally talking about something the other day. I don't know. We're talking about some items because we have some new clientele these days that we didn't have pre-pandemic. And we're laughing about some of these little oddball items that we said, who would have thought that we're in the business of, this, like this little huddle pod thing and a few of these other little things. They're just to integrate like smaller level hybrid meetings, not bigger level hybrid meetings. So, but we're laughing about like, who thought we'd be in this business right this second, but that's part of how you're asking your clients. We're doing the same thing. We're asking our clients, and then that trickles back to you, and that big wheel keeps turning, I guess,
Yeah, it is. And I think that probably the takeaway that I have is the resilience of this industry and the resilience of a lot of people in this industry. And then it's kind of like those steps you went through, in Joe's business leader, you went through that thing of, okay, what is this thing with the pandemic? How do we survive it? And then the question is, what do you do now that you've sort of figured out how to survive it? What do you do? And that's where our team got together and go, we're not wasting a minute of this. And so we said, we're a rental company. Everybody knows at the core, but there's so much demand for other things. It's not being served. We're like, and it's being served in certain different pieces of capacities. It was so obvious. All the pieces were there, but they just weren't assembled. It was, we've been talking about sales and all kinds of things for years. And then all of a sudden we're like, wait, we have time now. The biggest challenge over the years prior was we couldn't get to it. Yeah, you're just too busy and the business is growing. Thank goodness for that. But all of a sudden you go, oh my God, pedal to the floor right now. It's go time. And we're all thinking, oh, we're going to be home and we're going to eat a lot and we're just going to, we're going to, what else? We're like, I don't think we ever worked harder. Honest to God, I don't think we've ever worked harder. So it's, interesting. It's very interesting. Like you said, different than I'd ever expected.
And with the transition of, everything kind of opening back up, at least here in the Northeast and all that, how have you guys been handling the coming spring and summer seasons? Has it been ramping up a lot?
Well, Tim, you want to speak to the sales side of that, and I can address the rental side if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, the sales are definitely ramping up. I mean, you see people are having their CapEx, they have the budget, and they're ready to go. They're just, people are still very cautious, based off of what's happening, just to make sure they're spending it in the right place. But that's where, Nationwide does come in, because being able to read the market trends and where the industry's going. And like Bret alluded to, during the pandemic, a lot of things changed that maybe would have taken years because people have time, whether that's going to, new protocols like ST2110 or NDI or new emerging technologies that we weren't ready for as an industry. We are now ready because we had that time to figure that stuff out. Virtual production's a big one, of course. So, from sales, from virtual production and LED and everything on, it is picking up quite a bit.
And rental, we see the same thing to answer that question on the other side of the business. Two things are happening. We see as we're kind of preparing, and that's kind of the question that you asked, is people are bringing on non-industry related people because we're having to build staffs again because a lot of people have left the industry. That's what the pro training does. So that's happening on the front. I mean, Kevin Ring is nonstop training. I can't, every time I turn around, there's another group and they're doing something because you're trying to acclimate people to higher levels of technology maybe they didn't have exposure to, again, because they didn't have time, or you're new to the industry. So we can do 101 to disguise whatever layer you want to go to. And then I think what's happening is we saw, probably somewhere in the summertime when things kind of settled down a little bit, we all thought we were in a little better place, the place we thought we'd be 3 different times prior to that. A couple of months came back and really took off and went, oh my gosh, this is it. It's actually going away. And so you had a couple of spikes. August would be quiet for us, exploded. Then we go, right. Wow, that means September and October will be great. Yeah, a little bit because there's a little bit of spike, Omni shows up. And then December goes through the roof when it would be quiet. And then we think, well, January will be great. Nope, because an announcement comes out 12:15 to 1:15, masks everywhere. And you're like, are you kidding me right now? So that's kind of been the spike, the roller coaster is probably a better analogy.
Well, let me ask you, since, again, you're the leader of your team, how many locations do you guys have right now? Just to
we have
add some context.
Yeah, we have 11 locations. What we've done is that because you had to manage staff, we've kind of looked at our situation and said, well, we fluctuate between probably 6 and 12 locations ultimately, because we have a location in Canada as well. And what we had to do is be cautious and say, look, we got to shrink operation because you just can't keep everybody. It's not possible. That was the worst, hands down worst situation that I can think of in this pandemic. The money's not the issue. It's the families, it's the team, it's all that. But in reference to the offices, it's easy to just go, hey, well, let's lock a couple of those down right now. Let's let things settle in a little bit. And and 11 might be 8, 8 might be 5, 5 might be 3, or 5 could be 5, 8, 11, 12, and 20, because the new world we're going to live in might change. Look at the problems with freight. You have people who are saying, hey, 3 locations is better. We know what 3 locations, just because Nationwide did that. But 20 locations might be, you can't move gear anywhere. 20 locations could be better. So we're in that phase of, and we analyze this stuff. It would make you sick. Nonstop evaluation. What's best for the clients? Where do you want us? We need to serve you where you are.
So throughout that, it sounds like you've been making adjustments as you go and being flexible and nimble in that sense. How has everything affected your staff and your team? Because you got a lot of people for a long time, really, really great people. I mean, how's that affected everybody?
Well, we, as I said, we had a senior team meeting. We've had 2 in the last 2 weeks that, we try and do that as much as we can with everybody being, spread out and people not in offices and all that. But the first thing we all recognize that your team has been impacted personally by this. And so it's, first of all, your team has been shrunk because you just couldn't. There's a certain point where, you do all you can for as long as you can, and finally you have to make an adjustment. Then personally, we want to recognize that everybody in the team took a different hit from the pandemic, whether it was with your family, which is some very, very challenging situations there, to just how you feel about things. And so that was the first thing. So what shocked me beyond belief is no matter what the circumstance, even if somebody, we started to transition our staff a little bit, probably 6 months or so into the pandemic. And the people, instead of being upset, they were going, thank you for what's going on. And we got this far. And that's for me is overwhelming. Simple as that.
Yeah. Now, but Tim, beforehand, where were you before Nationwide? Just so we have some sense of background.
I worked for other, video wholesalers and production companies, whether it's Fuse or Rentex or Evolve. I've been around dealing with, I've been in this industry for a long time. So pretty much.
You see the culture at Nationwide and how great all the people are. So I'm imagining that that it's been a good experience so far.
Oh, it's on a whole different level than anywhere I've been. Absolutely. There's no questions there. So it's fantastic. Everybody I've met has been fantastic. There hasn't been, once again, it's a different level. It's a different culture than what you would see at most places.
Yeah, I like going back to what Bret said about, realizing that even your staff has been impacted maybe personally about, the pandemic and everything. It's almost like 2 years later, we're still seeing effects of things, and it's crazy. Like, it just keeps evolving to different things each day. So it's nice to see that you guys kind of get together and have those conversations similar how we do here.
And nor is it enough, believe me. No, like our staff, when you have 8 or 10 or 11 locations, it's hard to cover that. And all the high level managers and all the mid level, all the different people are reaching out as much as they can. But the most important piece of this is going to be tying the team back together. You have to, you keep them looking for ways. We're literally in that process. How do you it's a world tour for us. We're going to go to every location and spend time with the people and go, this is what we're doing. You try and do videos but is it the same as being face to face? How nice would this be to be? This is awesome, but how great would it be to be in the studio with you? And it's just different. You know what I mean? Like Joe would be pushing me and punching me and stuff. Like,
I don't think I can. I don't think I can do that.
But so it's an odd time, and it's an opportunistic time you can really make some ground here if you really pay attention, So it depends what you do with it. You're gonna be proactive in the pandemic, or you're gonna sit and whine about it. We all whine for a day, believe me, everybody. And Tim touched culture. Culture is just something that is your people. Your people are your culture. I mean, that is what's going down. And do we have a mess like everybody else, certain areas? Absolutely. But the thing is, are you going to address it or ignore it? That's the difference.
Do you think that culture became more important throughout the last 2 years?
I don't think I always think it's a top priority, because that's going to be your customer facing component. No matter what level they touch your company, they need to see what the business development team and maybe the more visible people in your company are saying. And if we say one thing and something happens somewhere else in the company, it undermines the whole purpose of what we're doing. And it happens. It's not that it doesn't happen, but you want to be ears to the ground. What a great hockey player said to somebody else: 2 ears, one mouth. So listen twice as much. And so you pay attention when something does go sideways. You don't leave it. You go to it directly at the point of the root and go, what's going on here? Something got sideways, apologies, what happened? And you be transparent and accept your errors. And so that's what builds culture, because people can recognize it's safe to go, I'm wrong, made a mistake, I apologize. Can we move forward? Are we good? And if we're not, we'll go another layer deeper. So,
I don't really think it was a great hockey player that said 2 ears, 1 mouth. I'm not sure, but
it was.
I don't think it was a hockey player.
It was Gordie Howe.
No, get out of here. It was not Gordie Howe.
It sure wasn't Bobby Orr, one of those guys over on the East Coast. That's for sure. Had to be at least a guy that played for Detroit.
All right. We'll give you some Detroit credit.
Rangers? There. Who? What? I love
so. That. Well, listen. What do we think is next? What's next for the big Nationwide wheel here?
Well, if I let that out of the bag, there'll be 4 companies doing it. So I'm going to stay
all right.
To the chest. But here's what I will tell you: it is not over by any means. This is what honestly, when you launch 3 or 4 verticals like this, it's really cool doing it, and you get it done. You go, wow. And then you go, oh, wait a minute. We actually have to do this. And you go, ooh, I didn't see that. I didn't know that. So we're really in the stage of getting our legs under us a little bit with what we've done. But my team is legendary. The things that I used to worry about, they're so far ahead of me on certain things now. They're like, we need this now and this and this. And I'm just like, yeah, I was going to say that. I was going to say that, but I wasn't, because they're smarter than I am. So it's great. So yeah, there's more coming. It's right down the service pipeline for everybody. It's exciting.
Well, I think that the training has always been interesting to us, because we have, we kind of did our own thing training wise a number of years ago, because we couldn't find anything that wasn't so specific. Now, I think in the products that you guys work in, it has to be very specific, because it's the nature of it is it's a higher end product that you're not using it in a breakout room for 20 people. That's just not the nature of most of your equipment. Some of it, yes, but not most of it. It's designed for kind of a bigger space, just in general. And we were talking about the labor shortage earlier, and that's always been kind of a thing. Like we've always been looking for a certain mindset more than just the skills. The skills are something we figure we can train, but but the character and the customer service side, it's got to be kind of inside you a little bit, and so we're always looking for that kind of person. And so we ended up starting up our training program. I think it's like 8 years or 9 years at this point, but I think it might coincide really nicely. I see a good potential fit, maybe a nice road rally coming. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, good. That's a great idea. So, Tim, you know anything about that?
No, but I might have to look into that.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything you want to share? Can you let any cats out of the bag?
No, absolutely. Yeah, no. So what Bret's referring to is we do have the Nationwide Road Rally that's coming up. It starts in Orlando. It is an 8-city tour is what we're calling it. So what we're going to be showing off is new products and emerging products from the manufacturers that we do represent: Christie, Panasonic, Infrared, Novastar, Disguise, as I mentioned earlier. And you'll see some products that you might see them for the first time, right? Things that you see in private rooms, potentially at other shows. You'll be able to come see them at the Nationwide Road Rally. And you can find that on our website or nationwideroadraally.com.
There is a nationwideroadraally.com?
nwroadraally.com, yes.
Holy mackerel. I got to check this out.
You're really
He's like,
good.
I got to go to this right now.
Yeah, you two are really good at this. And Tim, you as well. You guys are good at this.
I mean, look at this thing. I didn't even know. This thing is amazing. Holy mackerel. It's even got a countdown.
Yeah, look at that.
It does have a countdown clock for the first one in Orlando. The one thing we will be adding is we are also having a traveling training session. So on some of these locations, you will be able to register and get certified for specific trainings.
That is very cool. Well, we're going to put this out here and put it in our comments so it hits all of our posts and everything. But I think it's excellent, guys. I think this is a big part of what everybody needs right now, because between the shortages in labor, people are having a very hard time on the staging side, kind of finding some momentum just for exactly what you guys went through.
Right.
That's everybody's trying to figure out, like we have a lot of new clients now that we did not work with previously.
Right.
And then meanwhile, when we go to reach out to many of our clients we might have worked with for decades, there's no one there. The transition of people has been unbelievable. So you're starting over in a lot of ways. And I think that's what everybody in the pro staging side is having a hard time dealing with, on top of all of the other things, the health things. And, your equipment starts to age because you just lost 2 years. So now you got to rent some things maybe you didn't think you had to rent. So now you have a budget surprise on top of it. Like, it's kind of an ongoing series of challenges. So, I mean, anytime you can have free training and demos, and I mean, I figure you guys are flying me down for this. So just tell me when. I see it's 28 days. I mean, I
think your tickets are in your mailbox.
I mean, I think I'm free that day.
Sure. Yeah.
Me too.
Well, one of the other things that the Road Rally is about is really looking at the new technologies, because of what the pandemic has done over the past 2 years and the increase in the technology, whether it's virtual event or any type of live event, that some of the new trends have really passed some of the companies by, because they did lose a lot of good people that would really focus on that trend. So we're acting as your quote unquote tech department to say, here are the new trends in both audio, video, and lighting. This is where we're seeing the market going. This is where we're seeing the industry trends going, and we can show you how to get there, and we can help you get there. So that way, we're almost like an extension of their internal departments. An extension you don't see or you don't hear about. We're just there to guide you in any which way we can. So, and that's what a lot of this is about.
I think there's one thing if I can add to, and Joe, you touched on a minute ago, and I just want to share it because I think there's value in it. With the things you touched on between training and trying to get staff up to speed that may have not been in the industry, all these different pieces, that's what each one, and what we talk about a lot is this service and that service and this service. And really what's important is the value proposition to you. How does this help me? Well, that's why those services are developed. Obviously, training, we all get it. You're going to learn more than you knew before. But elevating your staff and saying, I might be able to do 3 different things. I used to be able to do 2, really important. And then on the CapEx side, now I'm talking to the people that are spending the money in your companies, be it you, Joe, or Alexo, or somebody in companies, whoever's the one doing CapEx. We started looking at models. And when you think of rent, we kind of say there's rentals and there's sales. But there's a hybrid in there that's really valuable right now. CapEx is tight. People are a little concerned about what's going to happen. We have another program that I won't go into in detail here, but it's the hybrid in between that can really, really change a business. And it's a basically, I don't know how to describe it any other way than say it would be, to me, if I was in your shoes, it's the type of thing that would change my perspective on how I look at things right now in the world we live in. It might not be a long-term program we do for 100 years, but it certainly serves a purpose now, and it deals with CapEx relief. It deals with flexibility. It deals with not being trapped, no strings attached type stuff. There's a lot of really cool stuff. And what I would say to anybody who has that kind of, I'd like to hear more about helping me in my CapEx side, call your nationwide business development person. They will help you. They understand the program very well. We built it based on what was happening in the industry now. And hybrid is the best term I can use. It's super cool. And I think it could be a benefit.
That's very cool. I hear you saying hybrid. So you guys have equipment for virtual as well. And I was going to ask for your upcoming road rally, is it virtual and in person, or is it just in person training?
Right now it's in-person training.
Okay.
Right? Because a lot of the gear you have to, whether it's an emulator or a simulator, you have to actually physically touch the gear and be able to have Kevin there and show you certain things about certain aspects of the gear. For virtual production, yes, we definitely have the gear and rental inventory. There's no question there, but we also have, that brings up an important question. So when you're looking at virtual production and anything virtual, what type of transmission system are you looking at? What type of format are you looking? And this is where we come in. Are you looking NDI? Are you looking SRT, ST2110? Exactly what are you trying to achieve and how many different platforms? And are you mixing the live and the hybrid, or how are you going to do it exactly? So we help answer those questions where you might think it's, I want to go down route A, where we might look at it and say, hey, you might want to go down route C because it'll actually increase your viewership by doing it this way, and it actually increase your reliability if you change this one specific piece of gear.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, we get a lot of clients who are like, okay, I just want to make it hybrid, or I just want to make it virtual, but they don't realize we have a lot of different questions to follow up to really give them the right direction, just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Tim, we're going to have to move you up here to have a technical conversation with Alexa. 2 of you guys are right on this thing. I mean, Bret and I are going to talk about his surfing and ultimately about naps, because I think I'm almost there. Like I'm ready to hear more,
I would go back to how Bobby Orr is definitely, being a Northeast hockey guy. I mean, we're talking Bobby Orr, Ray Bork. I mean, you want to go to the Canadians, talk Guy Lafleur. I mean, come on now.
Well, I got this covered because I grew up in Ontario. My whole family's Canadian. I'm the American family, but they moved us there right after I was born in Detroit. So we grew up playing hockey there. So people, they can't believe when you're from Detroit and go, who's your favorite team? I don't know, the Wings and the Leafs. And they're like, what? And of course, when we were kids growing up, that was like 1910 or whenever we were kids. I can't even remember how far back that was, but it was always Canadians, the Islanders, the Bruins. I mean, it was just, 300 minutes and penalties, a dream come true for a kid to live that, So I couldn't be greatest sport on the planet, settle a lot of grief there. You can handle a lot of things inside that 80 by 200.
Well, there's still a lot of camaraderie that happens even from opposing, that's
100%.
That's what makes it such a unique sport.
That's great. That's what I said. You can literally fight the guy, tap each other on the head and go, nice job. We'll see you on the next shift. And it's the greatest sport on the planet.
Well, that's good stuff. Look, I don't want to tie you guys up too much more. I appreciate all the time. I love the service model, the fact that it's a bigger proposition and not just renting a box, and that you guys have always stood behind the equipment and behind the gear, and that's why we're certainly a big Nationwide fan. So
Thank you very much. We appreciate
you guys
that.
are always doing good, and make sure to tell Scott. I mean, I always like having Scott around. He's always pushing that CL5, but I mean, we love having him around.
That's
Scott,
what he understands. Yeah.
No, and Keith and that Joe. There's a whole bunch of people we've dealt with just for years that have just been great. Really solid team.
Well, thank you to you guys for having us. We really appreciate it. We're grateful, and anything we can do to help you, to help anybody else out there, man, just dial the phone. Even if we don't have the gear you need or we don't sell the thing you want, call us anyways. We're well networked and connected. We will help you get where you need to go. That's the goal of service. Simple as that.
Very nice. Well, thank you both for being here, and it was nice to meet both of you, and best of luck on your upcoming event in Orlando.
We'll see you there.
I'll be checking the mail.
Maybe Joe and I will hop on a plane.
I'm checking the mail now. I'm going to check.
All right, that sounds good.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate
right.
your time.
Bye.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Alexa is pretty good, right?
Very nice. Very cool. We're hopping on that plane. We're going right to Orlando. I'm ready to see it in person.
I mean, look at this. Who doesn't want to be part of this demo and training
right?
event? It's 28 days. This thing, we know when this is going to happen.
Exactly.
Well, either way, I appreciate those guys being on because they're always been very, very helpful to us at all times of the day, not just at midnight, but at all times of the day. So, Alexa, I think it's our time to start wrapping this thing up. Why don't you tell people where they can keep an eye on us?
Yes, every Wednesday we're here at 1 p.m. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, drop us a comment. We're happy to have you guys. You guys are a part of the show. You're what keep us going. We want to kind of keep reaching out to you guys. So
excellent. Well, on that note, it's time for us to go back to work. So we will see everybody later. Thank you very much.
Bye.